everyone, it's Rosie, and in this video I'm making Down Home Cornbread Dressing. This is so good, and this is that real deal homemade dressing, okay? So we're starting off with our cornbread, and you're going to need some cornmeal. You're also going to need some all-purpose flour. I'm now sprinkling in a little bit of salt, and after that salt, I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of baking powder. Now we're going to add in a couple tablespoons of sugar. Now we're not using a whole lot of sugar because we don't want sweet cornbread. That sugar is just going to help balance everything. Add in some eggs, and I'm now adding in some buttermilk. And followed by the buttermilk, I'm going to add in some vegetable oil. Now I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to make sure everything is well incorporated throughout that bowl. And after that, I'm going to pick up my bake dish and I'm going to spray it with some non-sticking spray. And I'm now going to add in my cornbread batter. Now it's time to bake our cornbread, and we're going to bake it on 400 Fahrenheit for 30 to 35 minutes. It may seem a little long and high temperature-wise, but you want to kind of dry out that cornbread. So this is what the cornbread looked like once it was done. We're going to set this aside, and now it's time to prep our other ingredients. So for the meat, I will be using turkey necks. If you're not a turkey neck fan, you can use a different type of turkey. But for all of us that are using the turkey necks, make sure you get rid of those membranes because that's just going to make it taste nasty and you don't want it. So now we're going to season the turkey necks, and we're going to use some basic seasonings. You don't need anything fancy. I have some garlic powder, I have some onion powder, salt, pepper, paprika, and all of those measurements will be found on my blog, iHeartRecipes.com. So now I'm using my hands to make sure everything's well incorporated, and here are my gizzards, and I seasoned them the exact same way that I seasoned my turkey necks. So now I'm going to start pouring in some broth. You can use chicken broth or you can use turkey broth. Whatever you want to use, that's what you use. We're going to cover this and we're going to bake it on 350 Fahrenheit for 1 hour. After 1 hour, we will remove those turkey necks and gizzards or giblets from the oven, and they should be nice and tender. So what we want to do now is just let them cool down because we'll deal with those in a minute. So in a pan, I have some olive oil, and I also have some onions along with some sweet peppers. I'm using red, yellow, and orange, and I'm just going to saute everything until it's nice and softened. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before exiting. I would really appreciate that. So now we're going to work with our cornbread that we made earlier. So I'm going to use my hands just to crumble down the cornbread. If you want to place the cornbread in a food processor to do this, that is completely fine, but your hands will work just as good and it's a lot quicker. So now we're going to add in our onions and our peppers. Use a kitchen utensil to make sure everything is well incorporated throughout that bowl. And now we are going to get the meat from the turkey necks. Just use your hands and peel that meat off the bones. It should come off easily. If not, that means that your turkey necks are still tough and you didn't cook them long enough. Now, an hour worked for me. It might not work for you. Make sure you cook them until they're nice and tender. Now we're going to start adding in the giblets or the gizzards, whatever you call them. And now I just want you to know that I did dice them down nice and fine. I used my food processor to do that, but you can use a knife. Now I'm going to use my kitchen utensil to make sure everything's well combined. At this time, that bowl was not big enough, so I transferred it to a bigger dish. I'm now going to add in 2 eggs. And now we're going to pour in some broth, and that's the same broth that was used to cook the turkey necks and the gizzards. Everything is well combined at this time. And now, last but not least, I'm going to add in some melted butter or margarine. So give everything a stir, and now we are ready to bake this. So here in my little pan here, I did spray it with non-sticking spray. I'm going to place all of that dressing into that dish, and we're going to cover it. And now we're going to bake it on 350 Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. After 45 minutes, your dressing is going to be done. It is going to be nothing short of amazing. It is just so good, and look how moist it is. I kid you not, this is some of the best down home cornbread dressing that you will ever eat, ever make, point blank, period. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel already, please do so.